We're in Nashville. I'll show you around the hotel room, but I've already trashed it. But I can prove that I'm in Nashville by doing that. That is Music City Center. Music Center. What is this place called?
Music City Center.
Music City Center. That is all. Today, we're going to go see the Gibson factory. Then later tonight, I get to go to the Underdog to see a very good friend of mine and possibly your favorite YouTuber, Corey Congilio. I'm going to play a couple of songs with him. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a bucket list item, really. I'll catch you in a little bit. We're on our way to Gibson now. There is the Holy Land. We've reached the Holy Land. Not this vault, though. The Holy Land. Look at that one.
So the Murphy Lab, it's named after a gentleman named Tom Murphy, and he's the pioneer of aging instruments. Some others in the industry might call it relicking. This is a little bit different. What we do is we actually spray a thinner finish. It's nitrocellulose lacquer. Typically, what happens with older instruments as they age is the nitro off gases. It gets thinner and thinner and thinner. The thinner the finish you have on a piece of wood, the more it gets to vibrate, which means it just ultimately sounds richer. So what we do is we spray a thinner finish that matches an old vintage finish today, and then they go through and all this wear and tear they hand age by, they have 3D scans and pictures of real examples that they just mix and match, wear and tear. And then all the cracks you see in the finish, that's a natural checking pattern. So they used to, before this method came to be, they would take razor blades and they would replicate like weather checking lines with the razor blade. Sometimes it looked incredible, other times it looked like they were following a trace. This is the most natural way to get a guitar that looks like this without spending, let's say a real 59 Les Paul. That guitar is $500,000. Basically, it's a looks thing, it's a sound thing, and it's a feel thing. They roll the binding in, so like whenever you're playing it, it feels like someone's actually played it for decades. We got 6 rows to choose from. That's a really pretty piece, isn't it? So basically someone can come in and be like, man, I really want this piece of wood. We take it down. We put the trace on it. This one's been pre-traced. But this is the exact piece of wood someone would have on their Les Paul. We would send it to custom shop in about 6 months. That's their guitar. They choose all the hardware. These are all the hardware options right here. Choose your neck profile. Choose the reissue year, what pickups you want. And then you have a one-of-a-kind Gibson.
Oh, we're starting.
Hi, Mom. I'm at the Gibson garage. This is
Dad.
Cam.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Dad? We're here.
This is my son, Cam. We're at the Gibson garage, and it is absolutely insane.
So welcome to the garage.
Thanks for having
Here
me.
in Nashville. I know we're already halfway through,
Yeah.
so we can go back and look at more. I know I'm supposed to be doing that too.
Yeah. How zoomed in is this?
It's very wide.
Okay.
It looks zoomed weirdly, but it's very wide.
Nice. Sick.
So this room is a little bit of a hodgepodge. You've got some Gibson custom. As you can see, it's mostly focused on hollows and semi-hollows. So
I see the B.B. King one.
45, 55, Trinis, and so on. We've got some great stuff. Because these are customs, you are getting the Supreme. You're getting the blonde 335, 58 in the back.
Yep.
Think that pedal show. All of our boogies below, we have the appropriate matching boogies. So you're getting tweeds with Trinis, right?
Yeah.
You're getting Falcons with 355s and so on. Some more fun over here. If you notice, we are trying to be intentional about what we put where.
Yeah.
Right. So you get a flying V into a Badlander. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You know, you get a Firebird into another Badlander, and then you get an Explorer into another Badlander.
Right.
So it's
It makes sense. It makes sense.
It helps that we have.
I'm really digging that 12 string too.
The 12 string is rad. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite shapes at Gibson.
Yeah.
The non-reverse.
Yeah.
It
fits.
This to me is the Jazz Master.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't.
Are we allowed to say that word?
Yeah, it's on your video, not mine.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I mean, it's the Jazz Master in a couple ways. Not just the obvious shape.
Right.
But I mean in that I think this is one of those that's going to come up at some point.
Yeah.
And the hipsters are going to go, oh, I don't want the Jazz
people
Master.
that look like me.
Well, you know, at some point you're going to say, if you haven't already, I don't want a Jazz Master like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a non-reverse.
I don't want a Jazz Master, to be honest with you.
Great. Do you want a non-reverse though?
Yeah, I've seen the one that's, what is it called? It was a limited edition, came out this year. It's, God, what is it called? It's the Firebird something.
Oh, the Platypus.
The Platypus.
Yeah, so it's the Platypus.
Is that it?
No, this is another non-reverse.
Okay.
The Platypus is a callback to an older model. Okay, so this is another one in the room. So let's go on to the next one.
Let us shall.
So all throughout. Come on.
Those are back.
Keep working.
I'm just like, let me get out.
You're doing your thing. So we've got all of these stanchions all over, and each one has guitars on both sides, 5 and 6 guitars on each side.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've got a wall full of victories. These are cool because they come in different finishes. You saw these at NAMM
Yes.
when we were there. Yeah, so you've got the Iguana Burst, and then you've got satins as well. So if you want something with a finish or without. If you're a PRS or a Fender player and you're coming in and you don't like the high gloss, the satins are a great way to transition.
Right.
Feel this neck. So if you don't
Glides. Yeah.
It glides. Yeah, if you don't want the typical Gibson neck that you're not used to, this is a great way to transition.
Right.
And that's not just for these, but in general, if you're considering a Gibson.
This entire time it feels like I'm offering you a piece of candy. And you're just not taking it.
On my camera, because it's so wide,
It's just
your
arm.
arm, and you're trying to feed me. You're trying to feed me.
Okay.
Keep going.
Yes.
So again, just some more to look at.
Dude.
All right, so here's one of our. I actually want to show you one of our few mod collections in store.
Yes. Let's see the mod collection.
So, if a mod collection sits and doesn't sell, which is not often,
Right.
it'll make its way in here.
One is already sold.
And this is one of those.
Yeah.
So this one it's a special one. It's a cool one for a million different reasons.
Yeah.
It's got like a copper burst. I mean, you see there's some sparkle, there's wood grain, there's so much on this. It's so
That is
cool.
unique.
Coca-Cola, root beer,
Yeah.
kind of, but you've never seen it.
Right.
And unless you order it, you'll never see it again.
Right.
So, and it's a Les Paul custom. It's not an SG.
You're right.
So, you're getting, it's just a f***ing cool guitar.
Yeah.
I don't have to sell it. It's a f***ing cool guitar.
Right. Exactly.
And one of the only mods in store right now. All right, so we got more 335s. We'll come in here.
Yeah.
So this says the Mesa Boogie room, but don't let it fool you because it's not just Mesa Boogie. Obviously, every room has a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Now, because we own Mesa Boogie, Mesas are everywhere, and so it says Mesa, but it's just here's one of the places where you can get some Mesa stuff. So you've got Mesa tees,
Right.
Mark 7s, JP2Cs, everything.
Yep. And Maestro pedals.
Maestro pedals, one of the few spots in here, Maestros. Do you want to hear a really fun Randy story about wicker grills?
Yeah.
So Randy's an actual genius, and he's got a crazy, beautiful mind. And when he was making amps back in the day, early days, Mark I, making basements and all that, he hated Tolex. Right? Didn't like making it, didn't like putting it on, didn't like applying it. If you've ever Tolex an amp, whether you're good at it or not, it's a pain in the ass.
Right.
And so he didn't like Tolexing, and so he ended up making hardwood amps and just finishing the hardwood. And so suddenly, I'll show you one in a second you can look at. And as he's got hardwood amps, one day he's putting some wicker on some patio furniture, right? That all of our parents and grandmothers had at some point.
I had one.
Right, and they were also like hardwood with wicker. And so he's standing there and he pulls out some wicker and he's looking at it. And he's like, "That's about the size of a 1x12."
Yeah.
And he slaps it on the front of one of his Mark Ones, and that's how it ends up as a hardwood with wicker.
Right. But it is an iconic look, though.
It's an
You look
iconic
at this
look
from a
that-
mile away, you know exactly what it is and who
Right.
made it.
But in that scenario, he's not making form, he's making function.
Right.
This is a pain in the ass. I'm building amps. Let's go with this.
Yeah.
I've got some. And then it becomes the look, you know? You
Yeah.
think Santana, you think Stones, you think Keith, right? You
Yeah.
go, there it is.
But that one in particular is really gorgeous. Let me see if we can.
Yeah, that light blue. Yeah.
I mean, that is gorgeous.
All right, we're going to go to the acoustic room.
Yes.
All right, so as you heard earlier,
That room smells lovely. Hello, everyone.
okay, so we're in the acoustic room.
Okay.
No, your turn.
We're in the acoustic room.
Keep that. Keep that. All right, we're in the acoustic room, and as you can feel, the temperature's changed as we're humidifying the room and keeping it temperature controlled.
I'm sweating already.
Yeah, the humidity is real, or the humidity is different. Anyways, you've got a little bit of everything. Again, you're going from Murphy Lab and customs to
How old is that one?
Epiphones. How old?
Yeah. Oh, that's a Murphy, isn't it?
That's a Murphy.
No
we got
way.
him. It's not vintage. We got him.
No way. It says
On
Murphy.
camera.
Let me show that
We
actually.
got him. How old is that? What a great question you asked.
I wonder if they can see. That is crazy actually.
So here are another couple crazy ones that are also new.
Dude, so that's like a 2025 or 4? Who cares? That's a
Yeah, I mean, it's either a 25 or a 24, yeah. It's probably a 25 because John sells guitars like hotcakes.
Wow.
Because John makes dreams come true. That's a better way to say that. Use that instead, okay?
Okay, we'll use that.
Also new.
That's not an awkward angle at all.
We're on mics, thankfully. Hummingbird, but again, you know, so part of this is not built to look old. That's not the thing. And, you know, guys that relic guitars are building them to look old. And this is where relicing gets a lot of hate. We don't relic, we age. And the difference is we want you to look at it and not know the difference, and feel it and not know the difference,
Yeah.
and hear it and not know the difference.
Yeah, I've been playing guitar 20 years.
And you
that
and
blew
you just
my
failed.
mind.
You just failed.
Yeah.
And that's great. But that's what we want. We want you to fail at it.
And I've
Right.
seen hundreds of
Right,
these
right.
that are actually from, 60s and whatnot.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to hand you one. I want
Yeah.
you to play it for a second.
I'll put this on here. Everything vibrates.
Tell me that's a new guitar.
There's no way.
Okay, so let's make some bold internet statements. Is there a difference between aging and relicking based on this experience?
Big difference between raging and relicking. This feels like someone played this for 40 years
Yeah.
and handed it to me.
Right. This is your grandfather's guitar that he played his whole life.
Wow. Yeah. And it says Murphy Lab 1960.
We'll find another one.
Man.
Now, I hope this is in tune. We're just going to go for it. We're
Yeah.
going to switch for another Hummingbird.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Uh-huh.
Okay, a couple seconds in. Try to not compare it.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me what this experience is.
It feels like I'm playing a brand new, spanking brand new guitar.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm the first to play it type deal.
Yeah.
Brand new, needs to be played a bit.
Not a bad experience, but you.
No, not at all. Not a
know
bit,
what a-
but a totally different experience, a night and day experience.
Now, here, what was the first sound that you heard? Or maybe the first thing you felt?
On this one,
Yeah, going from here,
loss,
going from here to there. Yeah.
just it somehow, I may be wrong, this one immediately feels lighter. This one, when I do that, I feel the back vibrating into my body.
All right, so again, let's make some bold internet statements.
Bold internet statements. I want a Murphy Lab acoustic guitar.
Are people who think that Murphy Lab aging is a scam right or wrong?
Wrong.
Based on one experience?
Wrong. But it's not just this. You have to keep in mind that I've had my Murphy Lab Les Paul now for about half a year, 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, that's night and day between the old Les Paul. And the old Les Paul that I had wasn't a standard or anything. It was a custom shop.
Yeah.
It was an R8.
You didn't just, right.
Yeah.
You had something good. I
Right.
remember that one. You had something really good.
I did, yeah.
And you even found another step to go up.
Yeah.
That you may not even know existed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And even that, they share a resonance, they all do, they share a vibrationary, that's not a word, resonance that I can't really find on any other guitar. I don't mean any other Gibson, I mean any other guitar. Especially on these,
The
I mean,
energy and the vibration.
Yeah.
It matters so much.
absolutely, because I mean, everything's glued on.
Right.
And doing this for hours, on days and on end, I mean, everything's going to relax and really get fit in. That's already been done.
Yeah.
To it, you know? When was this a thing? Murphy Lab has been a thing for a while, but when is acoustic Murphy Labs started? When did that?
Good question. It's pretty new. Murphy Lab the Murphy Lab is not really that old.
Yeah.
Frankly, Tom Murphy's been aging guitars for a while.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and he would put like TM here.
Right. So he's been doing it for a while. I think I don't know if you were recording earlier. Dylan even said like he's considered the master or
Yeah.
the father or whatever. But as far as
The
Murphy
daddy.
Lab- the zaddy, he's the papa of,
Yeah.
of aging.
Yeah.
And so I think he officially got his shop, his lab in 22, I think is what it was. And then what's really important to me, I had a hard time with this in the beginning, was, hey, we're gonna go teach aging to Bozeman.
Yeah.
And I just didn't understand, like, how can you teach that? But there's a way to.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went and he spent time and he built a crew and taught them
Yeah.
how to do what you found in your new Les Paul.
Right.
The same in this Hummingbird.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's a skill and a trade that he was able
Yeah.
to teach, others, and here you are playing this.
Yeah.
So I want to say in the last year or two, sorry, time is not real, so I'm not entirely.
Right.
John, the last 2 years that the Murphy Lab aging, no, last year it's been out.
I think we did the first Murphy Lab acoustics in November of 23. That was the light age.
Yeah.
And then this past fall, we did the heavy age, I think, starting in October.
Yeah.
Before.
All right, we're here with John, Garage Pro. He is the acoustic monsieur of Gibson. Tell me a little bit about that.
So this instrument is pretty unique in a couple different ways. Number one, it's a harp guitar. So you have a guitar neck with a chromatic harp over here to add some sympathetic vibration, some overtones. This instrument's also the last instrument that was completed by our company's founder, Orville. He finished this in 1907, and shortly after that, he left Gibson, left Michigan, moved back to New York, and as far as we can find, never created another instrument, or at least completed another instrument. And if you zoom in on the work, this was all done with chisels, sandpaper, very, very simple tools. He had no power tools, automation, not even steam-powered stuff. He was a hand craftsman, and we actually have the tools he used to build his instruments here. They've been described as glorified prison shanks. For he created the tools that he needed to make the instrument, but the precision in the inlay and the binding and stuff is pretty astounding for a guy that was essentially figuring out how to make this as he went along.
Right.
And it carries the hallmarks of what made Gibson Gibson. It had the carved top and back, which was the innovation that now it's 131 years later and we're still here at Gibson in Nashville.
And even the intricacy on the bridge, that's done by hand.
Yeah, I think he cared about every little detail.
Right.
From the multi-layer binding, the countless pieces of mother of pearl and abalone that are inlaid there, down to the design and symmetry. And we still have a hard time replicating this kind of inlay even with modern technology.
Right. It's all made by hand. Okay, let me play it now.
So a lot of our wood assortment that you're finding, coasters, name tags, magnets, bookends, and cutting boards are all made from recycled wood from our guitars that would have gotten scrapped, that we send to a facility that specializes in helping people who need a second chance. And so, you know, it's a reuse for like a reuse.
Right.
So people who need a second chance, wood that needs a second chance, and it all gets repurposed and not just thrown out.
That's excellent.
So I've been there, I've met some of them. It's a very, very cool experience.
Right.
And this is stuff like this amount of wood would have gotten thrown out, and instead, this is I forgot how exactly it works. They worked with the FDA to get it like FDA approved.
Like for food safety?
Yeah.
In case
for
I want to
food
cut a
safety.
pear on it.
Right. If you want to cut a pear and then clean it and then cut a steak on it,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about like, is it just, you know, nitro lacquer in my steak now?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's the right stuff. So these are some of my favorites. So we recently launched the Gibson Certified Vintage program.
Yeah.
And it's a program where we go out and sometimes people come in and say, hey, I've got a special X, a vintage piece I want to sell you. Sometimes it's very high level and just like, hey, I've got a thing, can you tell me what it's worth? And then a conversation becomes something. And so we've got a really cool collection overall that are for sale. And I think, just search Gibson Certified Vintage if you're interested. Anyways, they come in different shapes and sizes. We've got some crazy 80s protos right now that are like, look like Victories, but they're not.
Yeah.
And just some really cool stuff. But here in particular, you can see we've got an original 54, which is pretty incredible. Sorry, 56, I can't see. 56, which makes sense for the Tune-o-matic.
Yeah.
A 6335, and a 175D from 60 as well. So I think they're all 60, yeah. Fun fact about gold tops.
Yeah.
Do you know how gold tops became gold?
Copper? What? Is that not the answer?
That's not the answer, you dick. Do you know why we started painting guitars gold? Let me try that one.
Oh, okay. Not how the actual color is achieved.
How you got there
Okay.
on a guitar channel
Okay.
in a guitar shop.
Okay.
If you heard that question and thought, I wonder how they became that, write copper below.
Yeah.
Okay?
It
If
is. It's
you
the
thought,
truth.
how
It's
does
what it is.
Gold became gold.
It's why sometimes they turn green when they're,
Right. Okay. So,
aged.
anyways, please don't cut any of that.
Okay, I won't.
The reason we started painting these gold is because gold is so thick. There's no translucence, right? There's no transparency. It was to cover unattractive wood.
Huh. Kind of like how I wear this jacket.
Exactly. It's it's your muumuu. You're covering your body,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So that's why. So the gold top was originally a muumuu to cover unappealing wood.
What's a moo-moo?
That's how a gold top became a gold top.
Right.
Is to cover the unattractive wood, and then
Right.
it became this.
So that any light that hits it, pretty
Coveted.
much you can't really see.
Yeah, because there's no wood grain obviously,
Right.
and if you let's say you stripped it, and you're like, oh, I get it. That's why they covered it.
Yeah.
Or let's say there was this, just a fat like knot in the wood.
Right.
That doesn't affect it. Doesn't impact the actual play or the guitar or the
Right.
wood, but it's just an unattractive knot. Then you cover it. As opposed to wood
A burst
grain.
that you want to see, right? And natural is the exact opposite of all
right.
of that.
Yeah. This
The
is
nicest
actually a
ones-
really great like
Right,
1, 2,
right, right,
3, a
yeah.
progression. Right.
Yeah, because with the natural guitars, they usually chose the nicest woods so that you can really show it off.
Yeah, and so then you go back, and this is great. I mean, you've got some
Knobs.
going from here to here. You see, it is pretty wood, but this is just so much more attractive
Right.
with what's happening here. So it makes sense throw a little sunburst on it. Did you know that Gibson created the sunburst?
I did know that.
Yeah.
You know how I knew that?
How?
You told me at NAMM.
God damn, I talk a lot. And then you go backwards, right?
Right.
You cover it all up.
Yeah.
You know. But again, it's just crazy to think that this coveted thing
Right.
is to cover the shit,
Right.
which I love.
So not copper.
So not copper.
That wasn't the answer you were looking for. All right, cool.
Part of the thing that we do when we're purchasing the guitars is we're authenticating the entirety of it. And so we're making sure that everything is legit, everything is as it should be. We include whatever it comes with. So if it's the original case, or if you're getting, original specs with spec sheets, and then we offer up, as you saw there on the side here, you also get the certified authenticity as well, to show you like we've gone through it. We know what this is. We're certifying that this is a legit 1963 35. I mean, there's always that concern, right? Is this vintage thing real? Is this counterfeit? Is this not what I think? And so we make sure that you don't have to worry about that. We've done the work for you. We've authenticated, and you know it's real.
Okay, that'll do it for part one. You're gonna have to stick around for part two. The Gibson Garage is what you saw, a guitar store with a lot of cool things. Behind the Gibson Garage, they gave me access to it. There's the showroom, and then there's the Gibson Vault. That's where you've seen Joe Bonamassa hang out about a month ago. Jimmy Page was there 2 weeks ago. Slash was there about a week before I was there. So they gave me access. I don't know why. I'm very grateful. Really, it's for me, it was some life-changing stuff, because you get to see guitars that you and me exist because of. We're in this space because of that one guitar. So stick around for part two. Thank you so much for watching.